idea of the God of the gaps, right, is that, well, because we couldn't explain it with science, we created the Zeus, and some of that might be true for mythology, but at least for the Bible, that's not the case for miracles. And you see that in the story of Mary and Joseph with the birth of Jesus, because, you know, people at that time did know where babies came from.
Oh, yeah, it's no mystery.
No mystery. They know that, you know, and Joseph was very aware of this, so much so that he wanted to divorce Mary quietly because he was a good man. And a spiritual being an angel had to come and visit him to convince him otherwise, to not do that. And he went along with it, and praise God he did.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, there's no God of the gaps there.
Yeah, well, I think that's the perfect example, is that it is not a lack of scientific understanding that made Joseph have to juggle this idea. It came down to, there's a personal reason. There was a personal intervention by a personal God who came down and did this activity. Yeah. And now there's a whole other issue of him trusting that person and saying, I'm going to participate in whatever plan you have for this child. And that makes him a righteous man. But the understanding that this activity that is miraculous, the source is a person who is acting in history and can do things beyond my conception, but it's his activity that is at work here. And it has nothing to do with a lack of science understanding, but everything to do with a personal worldview about what's out there and who's in charge and how things work, that at the back of all of it is a person.
Yeah, so to bring this all together, so we watched the clip from John Lennox that basically led us to the idea of, like, what is the purpose of the Bible? What is the Bible actually trying to get at? And the purpose seems so much more personal, so much more really different than these questions of how old the earth is, and these more, what you'd say, you know, not unconsequential questions, not, you know, somewhat unconsequential in some sense, but not meaningless questions and things that we should necessarily avoid, but maybe not what the Bible is intending to answer, and even more so, maybe not the most important thing that you should focus on right now, you know, and maybe focusing on those things might be leading you to a place where you're disregarding some personal relationships in your life, and even specifically having a personal relationship with the Creator himself.
Yeah.
And which is accessible, which is very accessible.
Yeah. I think it is an often forgotten fact that the forefathers of scientific exploration, like Newton and Kepler, and I forget the guy's name, I think his name is Maxwell, who was studying electricity. Man, those guys were devout Christians. And their study of the impersonal universe came from a deep understanding that there is a personality behind that universe. Yeah. They understood that the universe was not impersonal, but that it is personal. It came from a personal mind. And their love for the world and their love for science actually went from Bible personal love of God to science.
Yeah.
And so it's not always helpful to ask hard, contradictory questions the other way. That the greatest science has always been done outwards from the love of the Bible to scientific exploration.
Because it takes faith and assumption to even ask these scientific questions. Like, you have to assume that there's laws of the universe for mathematical equations to work out. And that was rooted in this biblical worldview that there's a lawgiver and there seems to be laws of the way things operate. Mm-hmm. And so it was out of a worship of the Creator to go discover more of what he made.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, if you liked this clip, it actually comes from a longer podcast episode that Bailey and I recorded together. If you want to check it out, the link will be in the description below. Also, make sure to like and comment, subscribe. Please share this content so we can get it out to more people.